Hello, this is Matthew Miller from the ZDNet Smartphones and Cell Phones blog. Now, if you're a regular reader of my blog, you notice that I've used a BlackBerry a couple times in the past, but I was never really a long-term user. And that may be changing very soon. I'll talk about that a bit. As we take a look at three new BlackBerries. Now, the BlackBerry Bold 9900 or 9930, depending on the carrier, was announced back at BlackBerry World, which I believe was in April, and then it was re-announced along with the other devices just a couple weeks ago. So we'll take a look at this one first, which is the Bold 9930 from Verizon, and then I also have the BlackBerry Torch 9810 and the new form factor BlackBerry Torch 9850 on Sprint. So let's start out, we'll start out with the big guy. This is the Bold 9930, the CDMA version. The 9900 is the version probably coming to T-Mobile and AT&T. From what I understand, the rumor is that AT&T won't get it until like November. It's on Verizon now. You can order it on Verizon right now. It is also coming to Sprint. I believe it's August 21st, and I'll have that in my post. This is the BlackBerry that the traditional BlackBerry user is going to love. This is the one that I am seriously considering buying them for myself on Verizon. It's the best QWERTY keyboard I've ever used on a smartphone, and I'll show you some of my typing here in a few minutes. But let's kind of take a look around and talk about these BlackBerries. So all of these new three BlackBerries, there's actually five, both the 9850 and the 9900 come in a CDMA and a GSM variant. So there's five, but essentially it's three different form factors and models. They all come with 1.2 gigahertz single core processors. They all have high resolution touch displays, 8 gigabytes onboard memory with micro SD card slots for up to 32 more gigs, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 5 megapixel cameras, with a slight difference on this one, which I'll mention. Let's see, BlackBerry OS 7, which I'll talk a little bit about. Voice-activated universal search, some cool augmented reality stuff, and some great software, like the full premium version of Documents to Go, BlackBerry Protect, BBM6, and a bunch of other things. So let's take a look at the hardware. So this one is the Bold 9930. It's a 640 by 480 pixel resolution, 2.8-inch capacitive touch display. So that turns out to something like 287 DPI, dots per inch. And this device, as you can see here, has the full QWERTY keyboard. It's kind of a mashing between the big Bold, the original Bold, and the Bold 9700. But in using it, it is fantastic. I mean, you want to almost just type on it because the keyboard is so good. And as you can see, there's the traditional buttons that are, the one solid piece that presses in. You can see there's the optical trackpad there, and just a nice spacing. There's the display. Up top is the lock button. And this is an all-metal frame here. It's not plastic. It's a nice quality feel. There's the volume up and down, the mute button, and there's the camera button on that side. Over on the left side, we have the headset jack and the micro USB port. And on the bottom, this is actually in the metal. There's a piece of plastic here, which these are the charging connectors for the dock. You could just set it in the dock. And then on the back, we've got this kind of carbon fiber plastic backing here, and I'll take that off in a second. Up top, we have a 5 megapixel camera and a flash, and on this device, the 5 megapixel camera is an EDOF, extended depth of focus camera. So there's no autofocus, everything's in focus, which works good for pictures probably 2 feet and farther away. If you get too close, you can't get autofocus, so if you get too close, you don't really get a nice clear picture, which is a shame for things like business cards and receipts and things like that. And you'd think that the business person who likes this device would want that. So the reasoning behind it is that this is the thinnest BlackBerry ever. And RIM has stated that they needed to go with the EDOF camera to make it thin and fit everything else in there. I'm not quite sure about that because I've seen a lot of thin smartphones with these nicer cameras in there. But anyway, we'll live with it if we have to. And as you can see on the back here, the back is kind of interesting. This is the NFC antenna and the parts and the chips and all that stuff for the NFC, which is not enabled on the Verizon one at this time. I have seen it on the Rogers one in the wireless settings. It's not on this Verizon one, but hopefully coming soon. The battery here is a bit smaller. I think it's a 1230 milliamp here, which is a bit smaller than the other Bolds. Battery life has been pretty good. Actually, I go a full day, no problem. Not the 2-3 days like I'm used to, but it is a higher end smartphone too. So there's the micro SD card slot, and as you might not be able to see, but the back here is rimmed in a soft touch material, and then it has the metal frame around it, and then of course nice white and black up front. It's just really feels great in your hand, and it's not too wide. You see it fits in my hand quite well. And let's just kind of take a look around the OS, right? So we've got the notification area here, which is it's kind of similar to an Android notification slider drawer, right? Tap it to go down, then you come down here, you can tap it, go through your launcher, you got all apps, and as you can see, some of the oops, let me move back over here, sorry about that. The icons have been updated, and I've got in my review a bunch of the different apps that are loaded on there, and I've got Facebook and Twitter that come on there, and I've got, let's see, let's go to downloads. There's quite a few apps, and that's changing every single day now in App World as support for this resolution and this device come out. But as you can see, I've got Bing, I've got Slacker, I've got Evernote, I've got a Bible, I've got Flickster, the ZDNet app, Point, TripIt, and this app here is Overdrive for getting library books, TuneIn Radio, Wikitude, and just quite a few apps for the device, more so than I thought there would be, and every single day that is growing. If we jump over here to App World, let's just check the category. See, we're up to 4457 now on the Bold, and that varies by device. And they're enabling and adding more apps every day to the BlackBerry App World too for these new devices. But personally, I found everything I need here. I mean, you've got TripIt and Evernote and the browser and things like that. And speaking of the browser, let's just take a look at the browser. Go to see if I've got my there's ZDNet. Jump in here at ZDNet. That's the ZDNet homepage, and as you can see, pinch to zoom, all that works. It's a nice browser, very fast. Everything is fast on this device. This thing, if we come here and I scroll through these different screens, you can see this is part of that liquid graphics technology, right, in the GPU and things like that. It's just a very fluid experience now on a BlackBerry, which is something that I couldn't have really said before, but now I see no lag. I've had multiple apps. I press and hold the BlackBerry button. I mean, there's my running apps, right? There's my task manager. I can, bounce over to, say, Facebook, come over here, jump into the ZDNet app. I mean, it's a very fast experience. There's the BlackBerry app. Go back home. So that is really nice to have that kind of experience. But let me show you, let's see, the keyboard for us a couple seconds. Let's just say I wanted to get a new memo typed in here, right? So we'll do the traditional, what is the quick brown fox? I don't even know anymore. So I had a couple of misspellings there as I was trying to think about it, but as you can see, the keyboard is really nice. I mean, just to type on it is enjoyable. And messaging, I've been writing emails. I've been getting into BBM finally, which is something I haven't ever done before, and I'm really finding it to be a nice experience. I mean, messaging is fantastic on here. Here I can tap on there. I can see my messages. It's just a nice experience and a very good piece of hardware. By far the best BlackBerry QWERTY keyboard device ever made, and if that's something you want, there's no brainer. This is the device to get. Lovely device. Kind of expensive though now. I understand it's $249 on Verizon, $509.99 unlocked, and the rumor is that T-Mobile may be priced at $299 after a $50 rebate. So it's not an inexpensive device, but the initial cost really doesn't mean much when you're talking thousands of dollars on your contract. So $50 or $100 more in the beginning for a device that you really want is not an issue for me personally. Let's see. I'll show you media here for a second. So a couple things, right? I'm a big podcast fan, so in here I've got all my podcasts, and I was listening to them on the Bluetooth speakerphone in the car. It's nice to have that integrated right into the device. Tap on the music, it actually will launch a music app that is integrated with the Amazon MP3 player or the MP3 store. But I haven't quite got an answer on this yet, but you can go to the store, you can buy songs, put them on your SD card, that kind of thing. However, you can't access your Amazon cloud storage through this app yet, which is interesting. Hopefully that gets improved. It's got a great camera. Well, good camera, like I said. Great video, 720p video. And then if we have, I think I have a movie on here. Kind of one of my test movies. I'll just kind of show you how that plays on the device. And there we go. That's the first time I've seen the clock on the BlackBerry, but it's when I'm starting up movies after having a number of applications running there. So, oh yeah, I loaded it up with watching a birthday party today.
Thickly or misshapen, it would have been discarded.
So that's 300, and here I was at a birthday party tonight, and the Big Funny, Travis Simmons was there, comedian. So let's just see how this turned out.
Well, yeah, it is a mixed audience, so I'm thinking, okay, what can I tell them that will be helpful and not harmful? Let's see, what can I... They'll survive it. They'll survive it. They'll be all right. You should have heard the shit we said last night.
So video does pretty well. That was in a fairly low lit area. I did 720p video. This is really, really a nice device, and if you're thinking about a new BlackBerry, this is definitely one to consider. Very well constructed, very impressive that way. Now, an interesting device here is the BlackBerry Torch, which I think it should have been called something else because the Torch already is kind of associated with a different device, which I'll show next. This is the Torch 9850, and there's also the 9860, which is the GSM version. This one is a Sprint model, and it's all touch. There is no keyboard, no slider. There are physical buttons at the bottom, as you can see there. You know, the traditional BlackBerry buttons are physical. What's cool though is that display, and I think it's shown better in pictures, but it's you can't tell a break where the viewable display is at, and it kind of rolls around the edges and down the sides. It's a very nice, attractive form. And we have the lock button up top. Over here on the left side we've got the micro USB, and on the right we've got these small little bumps that are for volume and mute and the camera activation, and then we've got our headphone jack there, and then a very attractive back that's a soft touch here, and it's got the camera and the flash up top, 5 megapixel camera as well. But let's turn this on. You can see this. This display is a 3.7 inch capacitive touch display at 800 by 480 WVGA. So it's very similar to what you would find with an Android device, and in that regards it's attractive. However, to compete with an Android device, it really needs to be a kind of device that is loaded with apps that are touch optimized. Now, the interface and everything is actually much better than it was before on the BlackBerry, and as you can see, it has that same real fluid dynamics and interface, and that's not a problem. The camera does better than the Bold does. It has autofocus camera, it does quite well. And let's go into the notepad and I'll show you the keyboard. So this is all touch keyboard. And we'll come down here. So there it is in portrait mode. And as you can see, as you start typing, it has some text, predictive text, and there's about 12 different settings you can manage for the keyboard. If you tap that, you can get your numbers and and punctuation marks. We pop it over here into landscape orientation, and then again the keyboard grows even bigger, makes it easier to tap away with a couple fingers on it. And everything rotates on this device except for the dialer there, so you can see. So as you can see here, we go back to the home screen. We've got some nice fluid movements here, and then if I do tap on the dialer, it goes into a portrait dialer. So the Alt Touch is attractive. It feels fantastic in your hand. I mean, the thing I like about the 3.7-inch display on this one is it makes it so that the device is actually quite thin, so it really has that good phone feel to it. You know, it's not a big clunky Android device or something like that. It's extremely well made. I'm not sure how many people it's going to appeal to, being that it's a BlackBerry and it doesn't have a physical QWERTY keyboard. On this device with Sprint, they actually didn't load up any bloatware at all. There is the Sprint self-service area where you can go and get just the apps and the services that you would like rather than preloading that for you, which is a great move by Sprint, and I wish everybody would do that. It's a very nice device. If I'm going to go with a BlackBerry, though, I'm going there for a keyboard. I'm not going there for an all-touch experience, which I would rather have an iPhone or an Android probably for an all-touch experience. However, it's a very solid, nice device that if you're thinking about it and you like the all-touch, you should actually consider that one. So the last one that we have that's new is the Torch 9810. Now we had the Torch 9800 last year, and this one, as you can see, and as you'll look around and see, is pretty much the same thing, right? It's the combo device, right? So it's got the slide-up display that reveals a QWERTY keyboard. And the display now is a higher resolution. It's 3.2 inches, 640 by 480, and it has all the same internals as the other devices in BlackBerry OS 7. Very, very fast, very responsive. The keyboard's a little too tight for me to really get that comfortable with, so I kind of lose the utility of having the keyboard, and thus the thickness of it takes away from the experience for myself. I mean, it's not hugely thick, but it is a bit heavier and thicker than the other devices. And as you can see, there's the micro USB port. We've got these buttons there for the volume and the camera, and then the headset jack right in there, and then the camera on the back, and then it's got this plastic, metallic silver feel and texture to the back. And of course, you slide it up, and then we have our keyboard there. You can see the back. It's a very solid slider, and it's a responsive device. I used this one for a couple days before the other ones arrived, and I actually got to like it. And when I wrote my Facebook or BlackBerry Playbook companion book, I actually used this as the test device, and I did enjoy using it. I got used to the form factor. However, it's kind of a discombobulated experience, I guess, because it has touch and then keyboard, and you bounce back and forth with it. You got to slide up, slide down. I just would rather go with either an all-touch or an all-keyboard type device. But this one will be available on AT&T, and it is a GSM-only device, so you won't see it on Verizon or Sprint. It's not even a choice to choose from. It will be on AT&T and probably other places around the world as well. And it's pretty much just the upgrade to the 9800. So if you like that form factor and you want a new device, this is one to check out. So let's take a look at the lineup again one more time before we say goodbye, and ask that you just take a look at the post where I have a pretty extensive image gallery and lots more coverage and writing. So there's the three devices, and I'm personally partial to the Bold 9930 with the most awesome QWERTY keyboard ever designed for a smartphone, and it's nice to see that you have good choices with flawless, fluid experiences on RIM. Now, you know, BlackBerry OS 7 is going to eventually end, and we're going to move to the QNX smartphones. Now, RIM is saying sometime early in 2012. Knowing the way that RIM has been with some of these devices, I'd imagine it's going to be mid to end of 2012 before we see them. And so for you get these devices, they'll be good for at least a year, right? And one thing is the first devices never are always rock solid, and it might not have the app support and things like that. So I see no problem in recommending getting one of these for at least a year and using it until the new ones come out. So thanks everybody for watching, and talk to you later.